we were looking at how do we run the multiple response variable, how do we run the single response variable, right? So we have got a multiple response variable defined. This is not common, it full screen. Yeah. So you go to analyze, you say custom tables. Under custom tables, you again click custom tables. Now here on the left, you can see all these variables here, what you saw in the variable view. Okay, so you can drag and drop. You can say for example, you want to look at the age group spread of these 200 people. You can say, you just drag and drop it under rows. Why rows? Because every value here would be one row. That is, every age band, you want to see it this way. So see, the thing is with this tool, you need to visualize how you want the output to look like, right? We normally look at this age spread or whatever percentage spread or count spread, we would look at it like this. But equally, some people may be more comfortable looking at a spread like this. That is, every value coming as one column. There may be some people who are comfortable that way, right? So you need to first visualize as to how you want to look at the data. You know that this variable is there, you know these are the values for this variable, but how do you want to look at the data? Okay. Now I have got count. Default is count, so I can add a total row also here for me to know what is the total days at any given point in time. Right now I know that it is 200, but for all questions it's a good practice to have a total. So I'm sorry, 1 second. So I go to categories and totals, which is here, and I say show total. Now within show total, you can either show total before the values come, or you can show them after the values come. So which is, if it is before, you say above categories to which they apply. If you want them to appear below, after the values, you say below the categories to which they apply. Default is below the categories, so I let it be. I say apply, total gets added here. Okay, this is your preview of how your output table would look like. So what you did, you dragged and dropped. You went to custom tables first. Within that custom tables, this window opened. Then you dragged and dropped the variable that you wanted. By default, it says count, and you want the total. You want to see the total, and you say OK. So this is the output. So you look at the output file here. The table comes here in the output file. This is the age spread of the respondents for this study in this data set. Okay. The same thing you want to look at percentages. You don't want just the count. Okay. Again, I go to analyze. Now I don't need to necessarily go back to the data. I can look at analyze here also. So there is an analyze tab here as well, which gives the same options. I click on analyze, I click on custom tables again. What we had earlier seen, that remains, that would stay in the memory, so you don't need to drag drop again. So what I need to do here is click on this variable and say summary statistics, and I select column and percentage. There is something called row and percentage, column and percentage, table and percentage. I will come to that. But for now, let me look at column and percentage. Click on this. It asks me what format do I need. Do I need single decimal? Do I need 2 decimal? What it is, right? So I click on this again and reduce the decimal to 0. I want to look at a whole number, and I say apply to selection. This is the preview again, and I say OK. 62, 28, 10. Okay. Now this is column n percentage. It is column n percentage because it takes the total of the column, which is 200 here, as the base for calculating the percentage. Now if you select row n percentage for this, what it would do is it would take 124 as the base for row 1, 57 as a base for row 2, 19 as a base for row 3, and 200 as a base for the total row, and it will give you 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. We know that is not the correct way to go about this, right? So you have to select column and percentage in case you want to visualize. When you visualize the data, in case you want to read the data in this format, you have to say column and percentage. We saw the other format, right, where you drag and drop it to the columns. In that case, you can select row and percentage because the row, the total of the rows add up to 200. Okay. So we've done basic tables. We've done count and percentage for a single response variable. How do you do it for a multiple response variable? I go to custom tables again. I go to custom tables under that, and I first remove this. Okay. We have defined unaided awareness as a multiple response variable. So I come right down in this set of variables. Okay. I just keep coming down. Now you look at, there is a different kind of an icon and which says unaided awareness. You see this? And the variable name is $S1Q1, similar to what we saw, same as what we saw in the multiple response variable thing. So I drag and drop this here again under the rows. By default now, since the earlier data that we saw was count and column and percentage, it shows me count and column and percentage. And I click on categories and totals. I say show total. I say apply. This is the preview. I say OK. Okay. The output looks similar, but the difference is that this is a multiple response variable, whereas what we had seen earlier, it was a single response variable. Okay. Now, so top of mind awareness is a single response variable. So let's say I want to look at top of mind awareness, I want to look at unaided awareness, and I want to look at something called a total awareness, which is top of mind plus other mentions plus after aiding. On the whole, for each of these brands, what is the awareness level? If I want to look at it that way, what I can do is first I need to define a multiple response variable which says that unaided plus aided is equal to total awareness, and then I run that multiple response variable. Okay, so top of mind is a single response variable. Unaided awareness, what we saw just now, is a multiple response variable. Total awareness would also be a multiple response variable, which is unaided awareness plus aided awareness. Okay, you want to run that now, or is this explanation enough? You want to look at it? So I go to analyze custom tables. I first define a multiple response set saying total awareness. So I click on top of mind unaided, which is S1Q1, Q2, S1Q1.1, 1.2, 1.3 up to 1.6. Okay, and I also select aided awareness, these 4 columns, and I put them here. Again, categories, I call it total. You can give it any name, so I am just saying for ease of reading, I am calling it TOT aware. I am saying total awareness and add. Okay, so this variable has got added here, $TOT aware. I say OK. This is the new variable with the name, label, etc., right? And with the other variables which are a part of this variable. You go to analyze custom tables again, and I run. So this automatically shows here. It's got defined, so it shows in the list of variables. So first, all the variables which is there in the primary data set, followed by the variables that you define as multiple response variables. Again, I drag and drop here. categories and totals. I want to show total below the categories to which they apply. I say apply and I say OK. Okay, so Synthol has got 71%, total awareness, Dove has got 97%, and so on and so forth. Okay. Let us look at how we run the mean scores. So we have got satisfaction, correct? We've got overall satisfaction, satisfaction with smell, lather, etc. etc. Now, way we had defined it is as a nominal variable, which is not correct. So we have to first change it to a scale variable. Okay, that's when you will be able to run the mean scores. So I go to analyze again, custom tables, bring this out. Okay. So when you look at the variables here, it shows these are all nominal, these are all scale variables, right? So I select these 5 questions, satisfaction questions, drag drop. By default it is mean, but I want to look at a mean score with a I don't want to look at the whole number, I want it with 1 decimal point. So I go to summary statistics. This is the auto format which it has defined. So you go to summary statistics, I say 1 decimal point, apply to selection, and I say OK. 4.4, 4.4, 4.8, 4.8, 4.5. Now this is for all the brands put together. The same mean scores if I want to look at for respective brands, right? So among Pairs users, among Synthol users, how satisfied are they with each of these variables? We do something called a cross tabulation. So let me look at this here, custom tables, and this remains because we have used it, we just used it, otherwise you would just drag and drop it here under rows. And I say MOUB. MOUB is most often used brand. I drag and drop it under columns. So the way my output table would look like is this. For Synthol, overall satisfaction is satisfaction with smell, lather, etc. would be like this. For Dove, same way, so on and so forth. Okay, this is how the output table would look like. I say OK. So here you can, from the table itself, you can look at the differences. People who are current users of Pairs are very satisfied, 4.8 as compared to people who are using Synthol, Dove, Hammam. Right? People who are Pairs users are Pairs, Dove and Hammam are more satisfied with smell as compared to Synthol. Right? So on and so forth. So you can look at all the brands at one shot here. Okay. I'm saving this. So, okay, I'm saving the output file here. Just save it. Now, say for example, I want to look at the total awareness by okay, I keep saying satisfaction by MOUB, total awareness by city. It's a common language that we all follow, right? When you say by, you automatically mean cross tabulation. So when you run one variable by another variable, this is the primary variable, and you look at any differences based on the second variable that you're talking about. Okay, so let's say I want to look at total awareness. I'm bringing all this back. Okay? I'm selecting all this. I'm saying I don't want all of this. Total awareness, I want to look at it by city. Is it different for people living in different cities? So this is a respondent city. I drag and drop it here. Count and column and percentage. This comes by default now because we have been using this. But the first time you will have to define saying I want to look at column percentage. Okay. I have said I want a total, row total at the end of it. What I can also do is now if you look at the preview table here, so it says Bombay, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore. I also want to see overall for 200 also I want to see. So what I can do is I can click here and you say show me the total of the columns as well. So it shows me Bombay, Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore and total. Now this total can be either at the end of all the columns or before Bombay comes. And if you click on total and I say above the categories, it will come before where Bombay comes. So overall it is 71% for Synthol. And how does it vary across the markets? In Bombay it's 89%, in Delhi it's much lesser, 52%, Kolkata it's also low, 55%, Chennai it's high, 81%, in Bangalore it's on par with the overall number, 71%. How does it differ for Dove? Dove is 97% overall, 93% in Bombay, 100% in Delhi, 98% in Kolkata, 100% in Chennai, Bangalore 94%. Since it's 97%, there isn't much of a difference across markets, right? Hammam 90%, 100%, 76% it's low in Delhi, 84% in Kolkata, 93% in Chennai, and 91% in Bangalore. Okay. So similarly, you want to look at total awareness by NCCS, the socio-economic class that they belong to, or total awareness by the age group that they belong to. Do the younger audience are the younger audience more aware of some brands? Are the older audience aware of some other brands? That kind of analysis you can do. Right? If you remember, in the analysis class, I had mentioned that we don't do any higher order analysis because first the numbers here itself tell you a story as to which markets are performing what way, right? And therefore, what could be the point of action, further action, right? So let's just run one more table for total awareness based on NCCS. Okay, NCCS A1, A2, A3, B1, B2. Here again, I will say I want to look at the total right at the beginning before A1, so it gets added here. So total is also here. See, okay, right? So if you look at A1, the total base is 20. A2 total base is 46. A3 base is 67. I may want to add A1, A2, A3, all that, and I want to say, I want to club A1, A2, A3 and say, I want to look at NCCS A as one segment and I want to look at NCCS B as another segment. Or I could say, I want NCCS A1, A2 as a topmost segment for me, and then A3, B1, B2 as a second rung segment for me. So what do I do then? I recode this variable of NCCS. I say recode A1 and A2 as A, recode A3, B1, B2 as second. I can say, okay, first TG, second TG. So let's do that. So there is something called a recode function. What would you do normally in Excel? You would say filter, select these 1, 2, etc., etc., and then you create a column. You would give it a value, that value, necessary value that you need, and drag it. Right? What SPSS does for you is you can just define, say, go to transform. It says recode into same variable, different variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say into a different variable. Whatever from the NCCS column, I want it to define into a different column. Saying if it's A1, call it as first segment. If it's A2, call it as first segment. If it is A3, call it as segment 2, and so on and so forth. So let me just look at the codes first. NCCS, this is the variable. A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the codes. So you say transform, recode into different variable, and I say NCCS. So this is the base variable, input variable. So it is asking what is the input variable, what is the output variable. You have to define that here. Click on this bring it here to this box. So input variable, you've said it's this variable. What is output variable? I'm going to call it NCCS 2, and I'm saying NCCS clubbed. Okay, and I say change. If I say change, it gets added here. This NCCS 2 will come here. Okay, so what I'm telling SPSS basically is take the values from the base variable and create a new variable. And I'm also going to tell SPSS that take 1 and 2 as one segment, 3, 4, 5 as another segment. Those are the values that we saw, correct, when we clicked on the value label. So I am saying old and new values. What would be for every old value, what is the corresponding new value? So for old value, which is NCCS A1, the value was 1. The new value would also be 1, which is TG1, target group 1. Okay, and I say add. Old value 2, which is A2. Again here, the new value would be 1. Again I'm saying add. For old value 3, which is NCCS A3, this would be target group 2. Add. For old value 4, the target group again here is 2. And for old value 5, the target group is 2. So I've said old 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2. And I say continue. Okay. I say OK in this box, it will perform the function. Okay, I'm saying OK here. So it says recode. This is a journal output. This is a journal that I'm getting saying when you read this function has happened now. Q7 NCCS 1 is 1, 2 is 1, 3 is 2, blah blah blah. All this has gone into NCCS 2. That's the new variable name, and that's the variable label NCCS clubbed. Okay. Now I go back to my data file. I keep saving it every now and then because any new functions that I perform otherwise would go unsaved and I may not be able to retrieve it later. So this is the variable view that we are looking at. You come right down. What we had earlier seen in the data file, it stopped with which media they consume. Now with this NCCS2 new variable has got added here. Okay, but we have to still give it values. We just said 1 is 1, 2 is 1, 3 is 2, 4 is 2, 5 is 2. We have to say what is this new 1 and new 2. So I am saying 1 is TG1 and 2 is TG2. TG being target group. Okay. And let's say I want to look at the same total awareness with this new variable. So you say NCC is clubbed with this new variable. Categories and totals, show total above the categories, apply and OK. So among A1, A2, synthol is 77%. Among A3, B1, B2, synthol is 67%. Okay, it doesn't change much for Dove because anyway the awareness is 97%. Okay, among for Hammam, among the TG2 it is lesser. For pairs, it is lesser again among this NCCS A3, B1, B2.